The topic of spiritual successors has been coming up a whole shit ton lately, all thanks to Kickstarter, and thanks in part to many of the original creators and designers of some of the best franchises and individual video games out there, all finally breaking away from the publishers that essentially have been keeping a fucking big-time thumb down on them, and going out, venturing on their own, and trying to continue all of these games and shit for fans, basically, so that they can go and do this without somebody over their shoulder saying, oh, you can't do that because nobody likes those kind of games anymore. We had Yooka-Laylee, which is, you know, that's a spiritual successor to Banjo and Kazooie and Banjo and Kazooie. That's amazing. Also did phenomenally well. We have Mighty Number 9, which is a spiritual successor to Megaman. Then we have Bloodstained, which is a spiritual successor to Castlevania. And I see this happening even more, and it makes me pretty happy, but at the same point, it's an interesting topic to go and discuss, because how many franchises can you think of that are really, if we want to go and apply a term to it, being held hostage by the publishing companies that own the intellectual property rights to these games, but aren't doing shit with them, and have no plans of doing shit with them, so they're just gonna lay there dormant, gathering dust. Meanwhile, people just want to see more, just see re-releases, or remasters, or prequels, sequels, anything, just anything pertaining to those, because people are dedicated and love them a whole bunch. But those who have the keys to the kingdom don't feel quite the same. And we're seeing so many different big-time people within the gaming world, as far as like developers who are, you know, are esteemed and revered and are absolutely valued and loved by everybody, going and doing this on their own. And I'm wondering who's next and what's next. You know, how many times have we all just petitioned to have something happen, or gotten together and made our voices heard to go and let the people know that, shit, this is fucking amazing, please do it. You know, I think of Shenmue, for example, is something Sega just has no interest in. So are we going to see an official Shenmue 3, or just like an entire series, kind of just a spin-off of sorts? You know, that's just as an example. You know, when I think about many of the properties over at Sega, for example, like we've wanted Streets of Rage. Fighting Force, in a way, was an official Streets of Rage game, but then they went and changed the name of it because Sega didn't want to have anything to do with it, and it was like the third or fourth different version that just got shit-canned. You know, it makes no sense, but think about that. We want more Streets of Rage, people want to make Streets of Rage, but they're not allowed to go and do that. So then what the fuck happens, you know? Think about other things, like how often if we want to see a continuation of the Chrono Trigger series? I mean, we have Chrono Trigger and we have Chrono Cross. We've got both of those, but we want to see more. We did get to see that complete and utter remake from the ground up, which was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen as a longtime diehard fan of RPGs. Chrono Resurrection, shut down. The Super Mario 64 HD remake was being made by fans for free. They just did it because they fucking loved it, just like many other people out there go and remake shit as a fan project, translators out there do shit as a fan project, and then get shut down by the powers that be for no fucking reason. You're not doing shit with it, it's not threatening your bottom line, it's keeping your products relevant, and you want to go and shut this shit down, and you wonder why the fuck people start getting upset, start getting annoyed with you, and that's where I just get driven to complete and utter fucking lunacy. And I wonder what other spiritual successors are going to be coming up. I mean, really. Are we going to see other ones from long-standing franchises? I mean, we technically have spiritual successor to Clock Tower, you know. That right there, Nightcry, did really well. That's another one to go and add to the list. Think about how many have been popping up and how many should happen. Are the big-time companies out there going to wisen up eventually and realize that all of their tried and true developers who are the brains of the operation and the artistic visionaries that made them into the companies that they are, that made these franchises what they are, Are they going to realize that they're eventually going to end up capitalizing off of their own talents and fame and going and running around, just doing well for themselves? When are they going to fucking wisen up and just fucking take notice? When? When is Capcom going to realize everybody's wanted Mega Man Legends 3? When the fuck is that going to happen? When are they going to just get off of their high fucking horse and just push arrogance aside, realize that they were wrong, and just continue with it? Fans have wanted it for a long time. At this point in juncture, make it a fucking Wii U game. Seriously, if you fucking announced it tomorrow, you said we will bring back Mega Man Legends 3. We'll bring back the entire original team. Everybody. We're going to bring them all back, and we're going to port this over to the Wii U. And we're going to continue the 3DS version in addition. So we'll have 2 different versions. Fuck it, why not? You did it with Smash Brothers. Pretty sure you can go and have something similarly done with this. It's just a prime example of use your fucking head meat. It's up there for a reason. You know, it's not just taking up space. I swear, it's fucking useful. Trust me on that. I hate the idea that all these great people are kind of being treated like shit. All these great fans are being treated like shit. All these franchises are being treated like shit by only a couple suits sitting in an ivory tower. Because of what? They think that they won't be able to recoup their costs? Meanwhile, it doesn't cost nearly as much, and when you have tons upon tons upon tons of people saying, here's money, here's just take all this money. If you had to sit there and just fucking put up a little prototype demo together just to go and sell to people, which is what developers do when they're trying to go and convince a publisher that their product, that their team is talented enough, that their game is worthwhile enough for them to invest in, you're just doing this with the fans now. Why isn't this fucking happening? I mean, fuck, man. It kind of blows my mind. I love the idea of spiritual successors because we get to see a continuation of really great things that we've known and loved that are tried and true in every single way and have, well, stood the test of time, frankly. Whenever it comes to gaming and in any entertainment field, to be able to last generation in, generation out says something. If you get to evolve or you just stay the same. Regardless, if you still maintain the attention, focus, admiration, and love of fans around the entire world and continue to entice people to go and pick up those games, then it's obviously of some kind of notable value. But to convince some fucking goddamn assholes out there that this shit is still worth it seems to be nothing but a test of patience. Nothing but a test of patience. And it's a test of patience for fans. It's a test of patience of the original developers and creators of these works. Now they're having to go off and do that. But tell me this. Tell me this. Do you think that this is going to be a good thing in the long run? That, I mean, these IPs are dormant. We know that. We know that they're not going to do shit with them. If anything, in a perfect world, I would say that I would like to see, since the companies have absolutely no fucking future plans for these, to go and sell them off to the creators. Let them have it, let them do something with it. If you don't want to, let them. If fans still want it, let somebody have it. It makes no fucking sense for this shit to just die. And I'm all for new IPs every single fucking day. But I sure as shit am not going to be the type of person like, oh man, new IPs every day. But if I go with that mindset and only that mindset, that means that every single new IP is just going to be cut off right there. That's it. Moving on. Here's a new one. Oh, done with that. Moving on. No. There's tons of old games that should be ushered in for new generations to go and experience because they're absolutely fantastic, and there's a reason that some of them end up becoming household names. There's a reason that we had people lined up in arcades willing to go and experience it and just chunking tons of fucking quarters to go and play something. The reason that those games were capable of innovating and changing the entire dynamic of the landscape of gaming as it was, just by being released for people to experience, and it just turned the heads of everybody. These need to continue to be around. People need to understand this. This is part of our history. My history, your history, the game developers' history, everything. Okay, if it counts for movies, it counts for music, if it counts for books, why the fuck can't it count for this, you know? So, I want to see this happen more often, but in a perfect world again, I'd rather see all the original creators just get all their shit and be able to keep it, since, you know, these companies are just fucking ridiculous. It just seems like gaming in Japan, for some reason, a lot of these big-time companies don't know what the fuck they're doing. And the developers still know what they're doing. They still want to create these amazing works, but are just kind of being stopped. And I don't understand why. What, because you want to make some fucking mobile games? Because that's quick, easy cash, doesn't take a big team, doesn't take much money, and because it's so fucking short-sighted. I mean, there's technically 1,000,001 different reasons why something like this could occur, but spiritual successors? Yay? Nay? Got any ideas for franchises that you know damn well are being abused just by being ignored and put to the very back where it's never going to see the light of day again, that you want to see brought forward again and ushered in? But what can you name off? Name off franchise, name off companies, it just name drop like a motherfucker, and anybody that you'd hand it off to, any new ideas that you'd apply to something like this. Hell, if you want to make a fucking video, I don't give a shit, responding to this, fine, whatever, anything. I just like people talking about this because I think it's a good idea. Either way, this is AlphaOmegaSin, as always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers game the fuck on.